The state funeral for Iran's slain supreme leader postponed as Israel steps up strikes across the country. Iranian state TV citing an expected unprecedented attendance of mourners. Discussions for a new Ayatollah still underway. Tehran says it's trying to swiftly appoint a replacement, with reports pointing to his son as one option. Mojtaba Khamenei has not been seen in public since Saturday after the joint US-Israeli strike that killed his 86-year-old father as well as his wife. But reports say the younger Khamenei survived the assault, with some in the establishment seeing him as the next leader. But Israel's defense minister warning that whoever takes over will be an automatic target for the next assassination. The dead being laid to rest as the war rages on for a fifth day. Mourners gather to pay their final respects to the victims of Saturday's strike on a girls' school that killed more than 165 people. State media says more than 1,000 people have been killed since Saturday. Iran insisting it will not negotiate with the United States, citing a deep lack of trust in Washington. Tehran confident it can sustain the war for as long as it needs to, as US and Israeli leaders warn of fighting that could last weeks. Global shipping and energy supplies in limbo as Iran's Revolutionary Guards say they have taken complete control of the crucial Strait of Hormuz as a vital route for the transport of oil and gas. The IRGC warning that any vessels passing run the risk of damage from missiles or stray drones. The US president offering the US Navy as escort if needed for oil tankers. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka says it has rescued 32 critically injured sailors on an Iranian ship just off its territorial waters. Several bodies also recovered near the vessel. The country's foreign minister says the injured are in hospital, but has given no further details. The 180 crew frigate had issued a distress call at dawn. It's unclear what sank this ship. We're joined by Blake Sifton. He's in Dubai, and Jagruti Dave in Washington, D.C. They're covering this story for CNN. Let's talk with you, Blake, in Dubai. That ship, as well as we're not short of evidence of what's happening on this fifth day of strikes between the U.S., Israel on one hand and Iran on the other. Give us an update on who is hitting where.
Good evening. Well, we've seen continuing Iranian attacks both with drones and cruise missiles in the Gulf. Both the UAE and Qatar have reported interceptions of both cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and of course drones. And Saudi Arabia says that its Ras Tanura oil refinery was attacked with drones, but there was no damage sustained. Earlier in the day, we heard from authorities in Kuwait who said that an 11-year-old girl was killed when debris from an intercepted missile or drone fell to the earth. And then in the Strait of Hormuz, as you say, the IRGC is seemingly enforcing that ban on ships crossing. There's been 2 reported incidents today involving oil tankers coming under some kind of attack off the coast of Oman. And then there's this incident where the details are slightly unclear still, with the Sri Lankan Navy saying that they have rescued those 32 sailors, as you say, from an Iranian ship they say was a military ship that they believe was attacked by a submarine. 101 people are believed to be missing in that incident.
Jagruti, the U.S. Middle East commander has said that the assault on Iran is, quote, ahead of schedule. What could he mean by that?
Yes, this was Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, and this was a video briefing that was released on Tuesday night. And he said, "We are sinking the Iranian Navy." He said, "Iran's ability to hit us and our partners is declining, while our combat power is building. Overall operational assessment, we're ahead of our game plan, and we've just begun." So the next question is, and this is something that the Trump administration is being asked, is does this mean there will be US boots on Iranian soil? Now, Donald Trump, interestingly, has not ruled this out. And Pete Hegseth, while he said that to reporters that currently there are no US boots in Iran, again, he also left open that as a possibility, which is very interesting because, you know, boots on the ground is a very different prospect to a bombing campaign And the question, again, that other people are asking is, what does this mean? Does this mean it will be a protracted war, a protracted US involvement in Iran? Now, many experts say that you can't effect regime change properly without having boots on the ground, because just a bombing campaign alone does not give you the influence that you need in the country, and you run the risk of hitting civilians and risking bad sentiment among the people, who majority of whom might be unhappy with the current regime, but they are very unhappy. They would become very unhappy with a bombing campaign. So this really is the question of what is the president's endgame? Is the regime change? Has that happened? Is that complete now that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been killed? But does more substantial regime change? Is that even possible without boots on the ground? Many experts say no. The Trump administration has not ruled it out, but is insisting that this does not mean a protracted US involvement in Iran.
Blake, Jagruti mentioning boots on the ground there. There are, in fact, Israeli boots on the ground in southern Lebanon.
That's right. There's quite a major development going on underway in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military has issued evacuation orders for the entire area of southern Lebanon and told people to leave north of the Litani River. Now, south of the Litani River is what's commonly called southern Lebanon. It's a Hezbollah stronghold. It's where Israel has been carrying out near daily airstrikes since a November 2024 ceasefire reached with the group. Now, Israel after that ceasefire, had maintained a position at 5 separate points along the border just within Lebanese territory. But over the last couple of days, they have advanced into Lebanon. We understood yesterday they were 1 kilometer in. Today, according to Lebanese state media, they are now 6 kilometers into Lebanese territory. So it's unclear if this evacuation order for the population of southern Lebanon is a precursor to a wider, deeper, fuller invasion, or perhaps a way of essentially freeing Israel's hand in its bombing campaign. When Israel has issued evacuation orders for large swaths of areas, say in Gaza, they then have carried out much more substantial bombing and in some ways regard anyone who remains behind as an enemy. So the situation does remain unclear in the south, but meanwhile, they are carrying out bombing in the southern suburbs of Beirut, in Baalbek in the east, in Sidon. And Hezbollah has returned fire to a degree. There have been rockets, there have been drones, but far less has come back into Israel than would have been expected from Hezbollah. It's unclear if that is a strategic choice or if they have been so weakened by several years of combat with Israel that they are simply not capable of mounting much more of an attack.
All right, Jagruti, a battlefront of sorts as well back in Washington. Senate to vote today. It's a Democratic-backed resolution on stopping Donald Trump from proceeding in his efforts on Iran.
Yes, this is a war powers resolution vote that is due to be held in the Senate later today. And it's to try to limit the president from taking unilateral action in Iran, as he has done. Now, the thing is that the Congress has attempted votes like this in the past numerous times since June, and they have failed. A similar vote is expected in the House later this week, and Speaker Mike Johnson says that it's likely that they have the numbers. He's confident, and this is because the Republicans hold a slim majority in both chambers of Congress. And so, despite some Republicans being critical of the attack on Venezuela and now the attack on Iran, they just don't have the numbers. And so it seems that the Republicans, as has happened in the past, the Republican numbers outweighed the Democrats. In this vote, they need 50. The Democrats have 47 in the Senate, and one Democrat, John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, has indicated that he's going to oppose the resolution. So it looks likely that it's not going to get through. Democrats are saying that, look, even if it doesn't pass, this is a good opportunity to discuss the justifications for going to war. But I think looking ahead, this is a case that both Democrats and Republicans are, trying to explain what has happened, trying to understand what has happened, and with Democrats saying that you can't go to war without Congress having had a vote and a debate. The Trump administration has been saying that, look, the Gang of Eight, the top congressional leaders, were notified ahead of time, and so they don't see any problems with this. But there are the House Speaker saying that it is very dangerous right now to try to stop the president and to stop the war because it would undermine the president's authority on the international stage at a critical time.
Jagruti Dave and Blake Sifton are covering this war on many fronts. Jagruti Dave from Washington, D.C. and Blake Sifton from Dubai. Thank you.